Hello, everybody. Welcome to our third webinar in a series of 5 in which we break down the design thinking process and we walk through each step to help you design learning experiences that drive business results. My name is Brittany Cole. I am the Director of Learning Experience and Innovation at GC Strategies, and I will walk through each of these webinars and break down each of these phases and provide you with practical tips and tricks so that you can apply a design thinking method and mindset on your team to help you design learning experiences. Let's do a little bit of a level set before we dive into step 3, which is all about ideating solutions and coming up with the practical, the low-hanging fruit, but also the high-end, wacky, the art of what's possible type of ideas during this phase. So when we say design thinking, really at its core, design thinking is simply a way to solve problems. And how we do that is with a human-centered mindset. It's all about that learner. And if you walk through each phase and you do it intentionally and you keep coming back to who your learners are, it will help you create experiences that are the right design and really the right recipe for your audience. And it's going to be relevant and impactful to them, and they're going to keep coming back to you for more because it's going to be such an amazing experience, and it's really going to help them improve performance and improve engagement. As we think about where we are in the design thinking process, we are right in the middle, right at Ideate. We have, to this point, we have empathized, we have understood who our learners are, where they're coming from, what does their day-to-day look like. We have done interviewing and shadowing and understood learners at different phases of their career, whether they're from new hire to senior. We have gone through a series of exercises to define the problem so we know and we're rallied around what we're solving for, and even have some different how might we statements to help us frame up that problem from different perspectives. And now that we have that problem statement, it's time to take some action. And really that's where we're at. When we think of design thinking, it's about knowing your learners, knowing your problem, and taking action. And Ideate is that first step. A lot of times when we think about designing learning experiences, we receive a request from our business partner, and we propose a solution that we know that we can do, right? We know the capabilities of our team, we know the capabilities of our vendor partners, and we can recommend a solution, and that's what we go with. But design thinking, it really upends that a little bit. It actually says, okay, we know that that's one option, that's one solution, but there's probably more. And there's probably more that are beyond training. It's beyond skills and knowledge. And so design thinking really takes that action, and it's really more of a mindset that you can ideate multiple solutions, and you can come together and say which one can generate the biggest impact with maybe the least amount of effort. So today, again, it's about getting creative. We've defined that problem, and we know the safe solution, right? We probably recommended it, and we've developed it before, and maybe it actually had some good results. But let's take a step back and think about what Ideate really means. It's all about who are you, right? What are you most comfortable with? But what else, right? What could be done to solve this problem? Maybe what's unusual? What haven't we thought about? What else is out there? What's available, and maybe we haven't tried it yet because maybe we might not have access to it or we haven't thought it's possible. But Ideate is not about stopping what we know. It's thinking of what we don't know and seeing what else is an option. In a way, when I think about the ideation exercises that I've been a part in or that I've even facilitated, it's about going crazy. It's really that brainstorming phase, so that you don't just find a good idea and maybe that easy idea, but it's finding that great idea. It's getting yourself out of the box, it's challenging yourself, it's challenging your team, and it's being a little bit more unpredictable. The mantra that I share when we go through ideation exercises is it's stop being a critic and start being a creator. And not just a critic of others, but also that inner critic of yourself, because you might think, well, that's not possible because that doesn't exist yet, right? Or that's not possible because it could be too expensive. And so even though there's going to be ideas that come up that might necessarily be implementable, what I challenge you to do during these ideation phases is spend less time criticizing and spend more time coming up with ideas, good ones and great ones. And they could be as general or specific. Really, when we think about the ideation phase, the goal is to help you solve that problem. So it's going back to the problem statement, and what we do is we take that problem statement and we post it all over the room. If we're in the room together and if we're in a virtual room, it's on the WebEx or Adobe Connect screen. And you keep looking at that, and it's taking that time, and it's instead of tackling it and saying, okay, let's build a project plan and let's do what we know, it's let's spend time. And it doesn't have to be a lot of time, but it's, okay, what can we do? What can we do and tackle it from those different angles? So the same group that you had interviewed during the empathize phase, the same group of diverse perspectives that you had during the define phase, keep them involved. Help them ideate as well, because you might be surprised that some of their ideas are going to be the exact ones that are going to solve that problem. So now that you're at a point where you're like, okay, I can take myself out of my comfort zone, I'm ready to ideate some solutions, what are some tactical tips and tricks and activities that we can help you foster that? So let's walk through those. And keep in mind, I know there's a lot on the screen. After this webinar, you'll be able to download this as a workbook so you can use it to walk through some of these activities yourself. So one of them is called right braining, but it's really just doodling. It's having a piece of paper in front of you, a sketch pad, a marker, series of colored markers. And it's, really just getting yourself in a way, instead of maybe working at your computer and typing, but it's drawing out. It's visualizing what that idea is. It's visualizing how you might solve that problem. And sometimes what we have done is we start by just giving our teams something simple to draw with. How to make a cup of coffee, how to make a pot of tea. I'm thinking of drinks. But it could be anything, right? It could be how to draw a car. And just something where people start to, warm up a little bit. It's not about being a great drawer, but it's just trying to, maybe work something that you typically don't do when you think of solutioning. Another one is that creative mindset, right? It's when you were a child, you would pretend and you would envision and you would solve a problem, and sometimes you'd become a superhero. Why not do that when you think about solving problems for our learners? If you were a superhero, what would you do? If you were a celebrity, if you had unlimited potential and you had mind powers, how would you solve this problem? So again, it's just another way to look at the problem in a slightly different way, and a way to help you think about problem solving in more of a creative light. Some other activities are root cause analysis, right? Something that you may have done as part of a Kaizen event or Six Sigma, but you can do that for ideation as well, for learning experiences. You can say, okay, we have this problem. Why is it happening? And then, okay, why is that happening? And even though you might not think of that as solutioning, you're going to start to see clear ideas for solutions during that 5 whys activity. And you can even use that as a way to start a mind map exercise where you can start to map out those ideas using colors and circles and clouds, and start to connect to say, okay, these are the different teams' activities. How do they all work together? So if you think about some of those activities that you might want to facilitate with your team, you might ask yourself, okay, are they satisfied, right? If you think about making the most of this ideate phase, the goal is to come up with a list of ideas, and then it's a great opportunity for you to, again, one, remind yourself that you are creative professionals, and you can think of a solution and come up with different ways to solve it. And it's the next phase and prototype to say, okay, of all these ideas, which ones can we actually, or which combination of ones can we actually take and test out? And so that's going to be our next session. We're going to take all those fantastic ideas that we generated. We're going to see which ones can have the biggest impact with the lowest amount of effort. so that we can test it, we can prototype it, and then ultimately test it to see if it has an impact. Thank you so much for spending the time with me to break down the Ideate phase and going through some activities that might work to help you come up with ideas on how to solve problems that you're going to generate as part of a design thinking experience. I look forward to seeing you on the next session.